hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots from goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Pocket with Jo. Happy Saturday. Good morning, everyone. Jo here of SportsGrid. Let's talk some hockey. It's time for Pocket with Jo over here on SportsGrid TV. We've got an absolutely loaded slate out there. And if you guys didn't catch the game between Vegas and the Sharks last night, man, it was absolutely incredible to watch Celebrini out there, the way he fought for that puck and how he was able to get that assist. Will Smith actually got the goal on that play, but it was lights out. I encourage you guys to go watch the highlights of what he was able to do on the ice. But we've got a lot of games to talk about. Yeah, it was an incredible game out there. We got both teams to score in the first period, which is exactly what we needed to get that plus money in and out of that game. It was fantastic to see. Toffoli also got us a goal in that one. So the Sharks back in action tonight versus my Calgary Flames. So that will be the last game we'll talk about. We're going to look at these day games first. We're going to look at the Montreal Canadiens taking on the Florida Panthers. Now, this is one where Montreal really has struggled against Florida. Florida has dominated these matchups. This is a battle of the Atlantic here. The Florida Panthers second and the Montreal Canadiens sitting sixth. Now, before the break, we did see Florida fall to the Tampa Bay Lightning in that second home and road situation for them versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. They dominated the first one. I thought they were going to dominate that second, but they weren't able to do so. They are 7-3 in their last 10 games, though. Spencer Knight is confirmed in net for them. And then we have a goaltender making his debut here for Montreal in Jobs. Now, he's 23 years old. He was a fifth-round draft pick for Montreal in 2020. Now, he was playing in the AHL. He's had 14 games this season in the AHL with a .910 save percentage and a goals against average of 2.44. Coming in here, though, against the Florida Panthers definitely is going to be a battle for him out there. I expect the Florida Panthers to be able to hit him hard, and so do the books. So let's look at the lines on this one. The books making the Florida Panthers minus 345 on that money line, plus 270 if you think Montreal can stay competitive in this one, plus 1.5 on that puck line at plus 104. Now this total sitting at 6.5. It is actually juiced to the under, 6.5 at minus 124 to the under. I'd be very cautious on taking this one to the under just because of what we could see out of Florida in this one. I expect him for Florida to go up really strong in the first period. I'm going to lay the puck line in the first period. We know there's playmakers on Montreal, and that's one thing about the Montreal Canadiens. They're never out of these matchups. Between Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield, you guys know I love the talent on this team. And Patrick Laine being back with this team has given them that extra boost. So I don't think Montreal gets completely blown out, but I do think Florida ends up covering that puck line at the end of the day. Spencer Knight needs to stand tall between the pipes because he doesn't have that save percentage I wanted to see with him this season. I wanted a .910 save percentage. He's rolling in at 891. So he's just below where I want to see him. Florida's being strong at home as well, 10-6-1. So give me the Florida Panthers on the puck line in the first period, laying a half goal at minus 102. You can look at the first period to go over 1.5 goals. Florida could get both of those goals themselves, or we could see Montreal kind of competitive in that first period. I expect 2 goals right out of the gate in this game. So that's minus 136. We have seen Florida dominate on their home ice. They've won the last 9 meetings on their own home ice. Now, if you're looking for the playmakers, it has to be Sam Reinhart here for me. I'm expecting Sam Reinhart to come out phenomenally strong again here for the Florida Panthers. He has a power play point coming in at plus 205, and that is where he has been the strongest. We even look at him last season. He was leading the league in those power play points, and I do think the power play point comes into play in this one. Montreal doesn't provide much resistance on their kills. So you look at his season so far, 45 points this season, 22 goals, 23 assists. You could look at him just for 2+ points as well. I think he gets up nice and big in this one. So that is where I'm going. Okay, you love tomorrow's games? Monahan, 2 points. Okay, Monahan last night was absolutely phenomenal. And Dawson, I believe it was Dawson who rolled in. And I've got to tip my hat to him. Because of Dawson, we all made freaking money if we followed that play last night. Something I didn't realize, Monty playing his 800th game. I love you guys in the chat, and I love you throwing out that information. So, Dawson, I am sure it was you. I don't see you in the chat yet, but I totally tip my hat to you for calling out that 800th game. Why is that so hard for me to say? But we were able to get Monty. Monty had 2 goals last night. So if you took him for the goal, if you took him for 2 goals, if you took him for 2 points, 2 points was, I believe, plus 300 what we got it at. So any combination of those, yeah, shout out to Dawson. Absolutely. Coming in with that information, something you always have to keep track of, where these players are sitting with those milestones. He opened it up. He got the power play goal in the first period. In the second period, he was able to get a goal as well. And I tell you, I was out at a pub and I yelled so loud when he was able to get that. And we all cheers to Dawson because that was our round of drinks definitely there. So let's get this money today, you guys. It's going to be a great day out there on the ice. So good day to make some money. Power play points. Yeah, the power play points here. Montreal is actually, they're hilarious because they can score on that kill so nicely. They come out on the kill, and I have the thought that Cole Caulfield is going to score. Like when they're down a player, this is where they're really excelling, getting that the special teams just comes alive in that situation. So it should be interesting. Cole Caulfield, I would look at as well. Let's look at Seattle taking on Vancouver. Now, the Seattle Kraken, we're really sliding going into the break, struggling to be able to get those wins. They're coming in at plus 110. We see the Vancouver Canucks here at home at minus 132. We know this team's kind of like at 500 at home now with a couple wins before the break. Total 5.5 in this one. The Seattle Kraken haven't been strong defensively as of late, but they're also a team that don't put up a heck of a lot of goals. They're still averaging under 3 goals per game. So in this one, that 5.5, I do think can go over the total just because of how I expect Vancouver to show up. Vancouver, you could look at their team total if you want. The problem is the books are giving you a 2.5, highly juiced. You can ult it to 3.5. 4 goals is not out of question here for the Vancouver Canucks, but I think just looking at the over 5.5, because the over 5.5 is coming in at minus 110 is the way I would go. I would expect Seattle to be able to come out, get a goal on Demko in this one. And then I think Vancouver can do the rest of it. 2 goals out of Seattle isn't even out of question. This team has allowed 3+ goals in their last 5 games. So they know they have to lock down defensively. It's just not happening out here for the Seattle Kraken. And we look at Vancouver and we look at their offense. The problem here is Elias Pettersson will be 99.9% out of the lineup today. So Talcott has said that he will not be playing, and Quinn Hughes will not be playing, which is their lead defenseman. So without Elias Pettersson and without Quinn Hughes out there, I do expect Seattle to be able to get something done. Quinn Hughes provides so much defense, and he's so strong out there for Vancouver. So Seattle should get us 2 goals, and we should get 4 out of Vancouver in this one, pushing us over the total easily of the 5.5. So can Seattle roll in, pull off this upset with those playmakers out? It's possible, but if it's going to happen, I would look at Brandon Montour. I think a long shot here for Brandon Montour to come alive in this game. We haven't seen him be very effective as of late. Yes, he's a defenseman, but his anytime goal, you guys, it was staring me in the face this morning when I was going over these lines, looking at these playmakers who I really liked for Seattle. I couldn't stop looking at Brandon Montour on their plus 650 for the anytime goal. Now, his point tonight, the safer way to take Brandon Montour is coming in at plus 142. So if you want to take him for the point at plus 142, tiny little sprinkle on that anytime goal, but he hasn't scored in forever, you guys. 8 goals this season, 13 assists on the season. So it is a very long shot. Now, 16 games played, 10-4, 5 goals and 2 assists and 7 points. That is versus the Vancouver Canucks. So he has been able to come out nice and strong versus the Vancouver Canucks. So in those 16 games, 7 points, 5 goals. I like my chances of the goal. If you think he's going to get the point, I like the goal. Now, Brock Besner, I think, is a solid look here for Vancouver, because you got to think, with Elias Pettersson out of the lineup, who is going to step up in this game. Brock Besner, JT Miller. Those will be your playmakers here for Vancouver. JT Miller at plus 240 for the anytime goal. Brock Besner at plus 175. So just not as much value here. And but I like him. I like Besner to come out nice and strong, and JT Miller. Let's move on to the Flyers. Thank you, Vinny. Very nice comment. Appreciate each and every one of you for joining. Let's make some freaking money on this Saturday. You are right. The Philadelphia Flyers and the Anaheim Ducks is where we're going to try to make money next. Now, Urjan is confirmed here for the Flyers and John Gibson for the Anaheim Ducks. The Ducks, a dog at home, plus 132. Could they be quacking here versus the Flyers? Minus 160 for the Flyers. I can't get there with the Philadelphia Flyers at this price. Could they come in and cover the puck line versus the Ducks? This is something they've actually been strong, being able to cover that puck line versus the Ducks. Minus 1.5 at plus 156. They hold, like when we look at the last 10 games, they're 7-3 over the last 10 versus the Ducks. Except when we look at the last 6, these teams have split 3-3. So it is a nice price here on a Ducks team that has every ability to pull off the upset. I think what I like better than looking at a side in this one is looking at the total. Total sitting at 6.5, plus 106 to the over. And I do think we're going to see some goals in this one. Now, the Flyers have won the last 4 meetings in Anaheim. So if you do like them, I would look in regulation to bring that minus 160 down. They've been struggling to get those big wins. They haven't covered the puck line in their last 5 games as a favorite, 1-goal games, but they have covered the puck line in 7 of the last 8 games versus a Pacific opponent. So they've been really stepping up versus the Pacific. I just see this being a 4-3 win for the Flyers or the Ducks in this one. So give me the over 6.5. I'm going to look at Leo Carlsson here to come out nice and strong for the Anaheim Ducks. Leo Carlsson for the anytime goals plus 380. Now he has 12 points in the season, 7 goals and 5 assists. So it's not like he's put up big numbers. We look at Leo Carlsson last season versus the Flyers. He had a hat trick, you guys, in one of those games. So 2 games versus them, 1. I believe he got a goal in the other game, but he had a hat trick in 1. So Leo Carlsson at plus 380, you're going to give me that much value on a player that has been able to get a hat trick on this team before, and I'm going to sign up for that 1 goal. Now, Travis Konecny for the Flyers. Here is someone that you can look at as well. His anytime goal coming in at plus 165. He's been hot this season, 41 points, 16 goals, and 25 assists. So if you just want to look at him for the point, you're going to have to lay a little bit of juice, but not too much in this one. We look at him versus the Ducks. He's played 14 games versus Ducks. He's been able to record 11 points in those 14 games, 5 goals, and 6 assists. Last season versus the Ducks, in both of the games they played the Ducks, so 2 games, he was able to get a goal in each of those. So I like Travis Konecny to come out nice and strong versus Ducks, and then Leo Carlsson to come out strong as well. This one to go over that 6.5. Okay, the Edmonton Oilers. Let's look at the Edmonton Oilers versus the LA Kings. Could you imagine how much bad blood is felt by the LA Kings versus the Oilers? They're in the Pacific together. The Kings are sitting 3rd in the Pacific. The Edmonton Oilers 2nd. They're leading the Kings just by 1 point, you guys. The Kings' frustration because the Edmonton Oilers have kicked them out of the playoffs in the first round the last 3 seasons has to be just boiling over here. Kempe and Kopitar are your playmakers here. The difference here with the LA Kings this season is the difference in net. So we haven't seen strong goaltending presence since Jonathan Quick. Letting go of Jonathan Quick was a huge mistake by this team. I still don't understand what they were doing. And yes, his numbers went down. He didn't look solid for the LA Kings in that last season he played with them. Darcy Kemper, though, is a solid goaltender. Now, he will be in net tonight. It's looking like Connor Pickard will be in net for Edmonton tonight. So this is going to be a war between these two. I don't expect a lot of goals. I expect a hard-hitting, a defensive, complete battle out there on the ice, but we do have some playmakers that are going to get things done. We look at Leon Draisaitl here for the Edmonton Oilers. And before I do that, let me give you the odds on this game. The Kings are plus 110 home dogs in this one. The Edmonton Oilers at minus 132. Total of 5.5. that 5.5, like I said, to the under plus 102 is where my money will be going. But Leon Draisaitl for the Edmonton Oilers, there is no denying what he has been able to do versus the King and what he's doing on this season. He is the leading scorer in the league right now as we sit going into today's action. He's being completely on fire. He has 33 points as well in 35 games versus the LA Kings. He's going to be dangerous out here. The Kings will need to lock down Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. They cannot allow those players to break away in this game because otherwise Edmonton's hot offense will push us over this total themselves. The Kings need to come out strong defensively. They cannot get into a back and forth battle. Now, with this total sitting at 5.5, it is dangerous because I do think the possibility of overtime is so in play in this matchup. The overtime bet coming in at plus 300. I think what I'm going to do is stay off that total because I can see it being a 3-2 win for one of these teams, either 3-2 in overtime, or what happens is we get tied up or we get the empty netter, where this is a 3-2 game. One of these teams pull their goaltender, either we get the empty netter or we get pushed to OT, and then it pushes us over. So I don't want to have the bet on the 5.5 as well as the overtime. The overtime's giving us plus 300. I like my chances of that. So I will look that way. Again, Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid are going to be dangerous, but Leon Draisaitl for the goal. Plus 150, 2+ points for Leon Draisaitl. I think he's involved in those goals tonight, whether it's the goal himself or 2 assists here. I would expect a goal and an assist out of him. That's coming in at plus 158 for 2+ points. Now, Kempe and Kopitar. Kempe has been so strong versus the Oilers. He has scored 6 goals in the last 10 meetings versus the Oilers. I would look at Kempe for the goal tonight. I also like looking at just parlaying Kempe and Kopitar for the point together when you parlay both players for the points coming in at plus 114. So you could do the same thing with Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. The problem is you're not getting the value that you're getting with Kempe and Kopitar. You're still going to have to lay juice when you look at Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. So that's why I will not go there. But this has to be a playoff style game. This has to be absolute war out there defensively between these goaltenders. And I expect a lot of hard hits and great action between these two. Okay, the Ottawa Senators are facing the Winnipeg Jets. So let me just find this line, you guys. Again, all odds are over on FanDuel. The Ottawa Senators coming in at plus 130. The Winnipeg Jets at minus 156. Total of 5.5. It is juiced to that over at minus 138. I struggle to see Ottawa scoring those goals. So we got Connor Hellebuck in net. We know he's been absolute fire here for the Winnipeg Jets. He has not allowed more than 3 goals since the middle of November. He's been on fire. Now, Levy will be getting the start here for Ottawa. Ottawa has goaltending concerns for sure. So Levy has made 2 starts so far. He was able to get the win versus Vancouver back on December 21st, but he did lose the matchup versus Edmonton. Now, I can't remember if he was in for that full game because he only faced 14 shots, allowing those 2 to come in. I think he was he either started or was pulled in that one. So we have seen very limited action out of Levy. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. It's kind of like Elvis there for the Columbus Blue Jackets. He's just going to go by Levy in this one. We've got Allmark with injury concerns. We've got Anton Forsberg out as well with injuries. So Ottawa just having a terrible time with goaltending. We know how hot Allmark was, and Allmark was the reason why we saw Ottawa win all of these games. So they did lose that last game to the Oilers. That was the game that Allmark got hurt. So that was before the break. 3-1 loss. Allmark went out in the first period. It was ugly to see him take that injury. They had won their last 6, and that was because he was rolling so freaking hot. They were on the road before the break, and I feel for the Ottawa Senators because now they have 5 more games out there on the road. So they had 4 games before the break on the road, and now they've got 5 games here on the road. So they've got a 9 game road road trip. Yeah, road trip. That is the word I'm looking for on the Saturday morning out there. So it's going to be a struggle for this team, especially with these goaltending issues. Their first game at home in the new year isn't till Thursday, January 9th. Now, this is the first night of a back-to-back also. They will face the Minnesota Wild tomorrow. And when we look here at the Winnipeg Jets, their last two games before the break, they just lit the lamp like crazy. They're able to score 5 goals in both of those. I think with how strong this team is on the power play, best power play in the league, it is converting at 32.1%. And we kill 22nd in kill rate here for the Sens at 77.3. I just can't see the Winnipeg Jets slowing down offensively. I'm looking for them to be able to get the goals on the board and really limit the Ottawa Senators. We've seen them win 4 of the last 5 meetings over Ottawa. And in all of those games, they've held Ottawa below 3 goals. So I do think win or lose, which I don't expect Ottawa to win, this is a lower scoring game for Ottawa. If their defense can shut down the Winnipeg Jets, which I highly doubt, they would win this 2-1. But I expect more likely this is a 4-2 win here for the Winnipeg Jets. I think we'll see some success out of the Ottawa Senators. They do have a strong power play as well, converting at 23.7%. It is a great kill here. Well, not great, 18th overall kill for the Winnipeg Jets. But the playmaker I'm going to look at, if you're looking at the Sens, it's Brady Tkachuk to step up nice and big. But it's Kyle Connor here. Kyle Connor has been fantastic for the Winnipeg Jets. I don't see him slowing down in this matchup. 2+ points for Kyle Connor coming in at plus 180. In his last 2 games out there before the break, he had 2 goals and 3 assists. 8 goals and 10 assists in the last 10 games as well. And on that power play, he has been so dangerous, you guys. Like I said, best power play in the league. Weak kill here for the Sens. The power play point tonight definitely is in play for Kyle Connor. It was locked. So we're going to see if we can find that power play point tonight for Kyle Connor, because I do think that is how he gets on the board. He has 5 goals and 3 assists in the last 10 games on the power play. So it has been absolutely fantastic out there. That plus money is something you can't deny. And we'll just see if that is unlocked right now. It's always so frustrating when I'm trying to get all my bets in for you guys and we're not able to get that. Plus 225 for the power play point tonight for Kyle Connor. So definitely will be looking there in this one. I do think the Senators stay under 2.5. I'm going to take the first period puck line here for the Winnipeg Jets. So first period puck line laying a half a goal at plus 154. This has been their strong suit in that first period, coming out nice and hot. They've won their last 4 first periods at home. So I love it. Yeah, the Sens to the under. The Sens are going to struggle to put those goals on Connor Hellebuyck. And if Connor Hellebuyck comes out completely flat, I will be shocked in this one. He has just been rolling so hot. You often wonder what these breaks do to some of these goaltenders. I hate the break a lot of the times, especially for teams that have been rolling hot into that break. And sometimes the teams that have struggled going into the break normally come out better out of the break. So it definitely is a hard place looking at these teams coming right out of the break. And it was a hard place yesterday for the Carolina Hurricanes. Thank God we were on the New Jersey Devils to come out nice and big. Carolina on the road has been so inconsistent, but they've been inconsistent overall in their back-to-back games here. They were on the road last night versus New Jersey. New Jersey got the 4-2 win, and then they come back home here and they have to face New Jersey again. I know Carolina is so strong at home, but you guys, I'm looking at this line and there's no way I can grab Carolina. They're minus 132 on that money line, plus 110 here for Devils team that just got a nice win yesterday over them. And yes, they were in New Jersey, so they got that last change, but I don't care. Looking at Carolina out there, they were playing sloppy hockey, and I expect it to roll into this game. So give me the New Jersey Devils at plus 110. We've got a total of 6.5. So juiced to the under 6.5. I think you can ult this one down to under 5.5. I expect this 4-1, 3-1 style win here for the New Jersey Devils. So it's going to be a battle. Take it to the under. The Devils first period money line coming in at plus 104. We have seen Carolina get off to those slow starts. They have lost, other than last night, the last 4 first period. So that is where their weakness has been. Now, in the month of December, we talk about their home record and how they are just lights out at home. They're only 4-2 in this month at home. So I don't love it. We have seen the Devils struggle to cover that puck line on the second night of a back-to-back. It hasn't been the strongest suit for them. Jake Allen expected tonight for them, and Dustin Tokarski coming in here for Carolina. I think the Devils get it done again. So give me the plus money with the Devils, you guys. Okay, the Washington Capitals taking on Toronto. Now, I keep looking here for the Washington Capitals, potential return of Ovechkin. No confirmation either way. So if you guys have seen that pop up in the last 26 minutes here, please let me know, because Ovechkin, such a difference maker out here for the Caps. Even without him, we have seen this defense playing really well. Logan Thompson expected in goal tonight. We've seen the Capitals have success. Now, Toronto's on the second night of a back-to-back. Totally wrong on this game yesterday. I expected them to struggle versus the Red Wings last night and take the loss. They didn't. They came out. They got the big win over Detroit. They got a 5-2 win. Now, second night of a back-to-back here for this team. This offense has been struggling. No Austin Matthews, but they showed last night they could put up those 5 goals on the Red Wings. Now, I thought we were going to see Matt Murray last night, giving us more opportunity for the Red Wings to be able to get that win. Last minute change, it felt like. I was looking at the game right before I went on Game Time Decisions and then saw Matt Murray Joseph Woll last night and not Matt Murray. So my stomach kind of sunk, because we know Joseph Woll has been the stronger of the 2 goaltenders. And now the Washington Capitals get to take on Matt Murray. Matt Murray is 8-6-1 against the Capitals in his career with a 3.63 goals against average. I was trying to play with the Capitals team total. Team total is sitting at 2.5 on FanDuel, -168 to the over. You guys know I wouldn't touch that. You can alt this to over 3.5 if your book allows you to do that. FanDuel does not have a lineup on this one, but I expect the Capitals to win this one 4-2. So if I think they can win this 4-2, I'm going to look at the Capitals on the money line, because they're coming in at -110 here on the money line versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. We know the Leafs are always overpriced here. And I think on the second night of a back-to-back, they will struggle against this team. Now, Mitch Marner, if you took him for the power play point last night, he got the hat trick last night. He was absolutely phenomenal out there. So if you want to look at Mitch Marner again to come out and have success in this matchup, I don't blame you, because I do believe once players roll so hot like that in one game, you see them getting those points in the next game, finding the back of the net. It's going to be harder here versus Logan Thompson, though. I do think the Capitals can win this at -110, and I think you can alt that puck line, because if you go to FanDuel, you want to bet them on the puck line, they'll give you a +1.5. You have to go to the alt puck line. You're going to have to lay so much juice, +1.5. I think they can win this by 2 goals. Like I said, 4-2 style win here, in my opinion, for the Capitals. So the alt puck line laying 1.5 goals coming in at +220 here for the Washington Capitals. And I think if they do win, they win it by 2. Okay. The New York Rangers taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Rangers rolling in at +142 on the money line. The Tampa Bay Lightning at -172, and the total sitting at 6.5. It's actually juiced to that under at -124, and I think that's because of the lack of offensive production we've seen out of the New York Rangers. This is a team that we just are struggling to trust, and I do think all of the momentum. The Tampa Bay Lightning got that nice win over the Florida Panthers in their last game out. They have 126 goals on the season. They're averaging just under 4 goals per game. Igor Shesterkin expected in net tonight for the New York Rangers. Now, this is a 7 p.m. Eastern matchup between these two. And we look at the Rangers, they've gone 3-8 since December 1st. I can't trust this team, even though they've had the break. They should be regrouping. They're just an absolute mess out there, and I don't think they're able to really lock down the Tampa Bay Lightning offense. I think the offense comes out really strong. Tampa's still holding on to that top wild card spot coming out of the break here. They're so close to getting the division as well. So they need to come out nice and strong. They need to get these wins, especially over a Rangers team that has been having these struggles. Now, for the Tampa Bay Lightning to get these wins, Nikita Kucherov has to come out guns a-blazing in these games. I'm going to look at Nikita Kucherov for his points tonight, 2+ points for him. I'm going to look at the Lightning on the puck line. I'm going to lay the 1.5. I think they can win this in a 5-2 style game. They've covered the puck line in their last 6 games as a favorite as well. And they've won the last 8 first periods at home. So if you want to look at them in the first period on that puck line laying a half a goal, I love it. If you want to look at them in the full game laying a goal and a half, it's coming in at plus 142. And I love it as well. Now, Nikita Kucherov, I just can't remember the odds on him for 2+ points. I will give you that number here for him. It's not as much value as we would like to see. Nikita Kucherov for the 2+ points coming in at minus 104. So it's because his anytime point is like minus 500. The anytime goal for Nikita Kucherov is plus 135. I'd rather look at the 2+ points. I do think he's involved in the goals tonight. I do think he can get on the board. Braden Point, we know, has been lights out for the Tampa Bay Lightning as well. Plus 150 for the anytime goal. Panarin has to be your playmaker here for the Rangers. He's coming in at plus 185 for the goal. And like I said, I think this one goes over the total. Braden Point, though, has 22 goals on the season and 17 assists for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Okay, you guys. Are you ready to move on to the Columbus Blue Jackets versus the New Jersey Devils? Leafs goalie. We're seeing Matt Murray listed as the Leafs goalie tonight. So I don't trust him. Don't trust him at all. The Columbus Blue Jackets and Boston Bruins played last night. Again, hats off to Dawson out there for letting us know it was Monahan's game number 800 last night. We all cashed because of Dawson. So I love when you guys throw those things out in the chat. Please always throw those out. Even if I miss them, other people in the chat will be able to grab those plays. Absolutely love it, you guys. Building such a great community here with the chat. I look forward to interacting with you guys every single day. So let's look at the Columbus Blue Jackets now. They were last night at home taking on the Boston Bruins. We know at home, this team isn't fantastic at home, and the Bruins had dominated these matchups. Columbus actually has been a team I've trusted more so on the road. Now, last night, Elvis was in net. He faced 26 shots on goal. He allowed 2 to go in. We did not see Swayman. My bet against the Bruins last night was because I thought Swayman would allow those goals. And we saw Korpisalo end up starting, and Columbus hit him so freaking hard. He faced 33 shots, allowed 6 goals. So when we look at that, I don't see the Boston Bruins defensively being able to turn around back at home to be able to step up so much more defensively. And I think Columbus has every opportunity of getting the second win here versus the Boston Bruins. So they won 6-2 last night, and I think they come in and win it again. So let me just pull up odds here on FanDuel. They're plus 168. Heck, it's worth a freaking shot here on the Columbus Blue Jackets to continue to roll hot with how hot they were last night. Minus 205 for the Boston Bruins. I know a lot of people like looking at when one team wins going back to the other. And we saw that with the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. You know, Florida won the first game. Tampa came back and won the second on that back-to-back situation. But I'm just not seeing it here. Tarasov is expected for Columbus. Swayman expected here for the Boston Bruins. And I do think, again, Columbus can hit Swayman. The team total of the Columbus Blue Jackets is probably the best way to bet Columbus if you like them and you don't want plus money and you just want to get them for those goals. Over 2.5 goals coming in at minus 112. The defense didn't provide resistance yesterday. I don't think they'll provide resistance again. They knew that was their second string goalie in with Korpisalo, and they still didn't give him the support. They're not going to give Swayman any more support. And again, I just don't trust him at all. So I will look at Columbus's team total over 2.5 goals, and I think they win it again. So I'm going to put some money on them at plus 168. Now, if you want to look at Monty to come back out and get another goal, I don't hate it in this one. I think it is a good game for them here. Okay. Pittsburgh taking on the Islanders. And you guys, we have to go fast. My Madden Quickie is up on the SportsGrid app for all of the NFL action today. And then my Cup of Joe is out for my Chargers. So taking on the Patriots. I'm so excited for this game. It's kicking off in 25 minutes. So let's get going. The Pittsburgh Penguins taking on the New York Islanders. The Penguins coming in at plus 122. The New York Islanders at minus 146. Why do we have to lay so much juice on the Islanders here at home? I don't trust it, you guys. We got a total of 5.5 minus 130 to the over 5.5. Tristan Jarry expected here for the Pittsburgh Penguins, Sorokin. Expected for the Islanders, Sorokin hasn't been hot, you guys. Over his past 5 games, he's been allowing those goals to pour in, hasn't been standing tall between the pipes. He's got a 3.50 goals against average in those last 5 and a save percentage of .860. And now you want me to lay juice with the New York Islanders? I'm not buying into it. We've seen the Penguins entering the break. They were flying. They were so hot out there. Sidney Crosby, Malkin, Chris Letang, all really stepping up. And that's what we find with the Pittsburgh Penguins. They go through these phases when they really need it, and they really step up, and their top playmakers are able to get things done. Now, before the break, the Islanders are going to be so upset with themselves. They faced the Buffalo Sabres and allowed the Sabres to get in that win column, and it had to hurt because we know the Sabres had lost, 13 games in a row, and then they come in and they put 5 goals on the Isles. It would have been a terrible situation. They would have been feeling pretty crappy about themselves, especially because they were at home in that one. I'm expecting that answer back, but I don't trust Sorokin here. I do think this one goes over that total of 6.5. We know the Pittsburgh Penguins have been so strong at getting up in that first period, and they've allowed these leads to be blown, and the Isles won't stop fighting in this one. So give me the over 6.5. Give me the Penguins first period money line. We're getting the first period money line at plus 106 versus an Isles team that has lost their last 5 first periods at home. It seems too good to be true. I think this is a live betting situation all day long between these two. When we look at their last, I think it's their last 9 games, you guys. Last 9 games between these two have all been 1-goal games. I'm hoping one of these teams gets up fast, and then I can get value plus 1.5 on the other team in this one. So that's where I'll look, because when the last 9 have been 1 goals, could we see overtime between these two? We absolutely could. That's how tight they do play out there. So it's going to be a battle, one that I would rather have my money on the Penguins in the first period. Last but not least, we got the Calgary Flames. My Calgary Flames in action. Dustin Wolf expected in net, taking on the San Jose Sharks with Askarov, as I pronounce his name. I butcher names. I know I do, you guys, so make fun of me all you want. It's just if you don't know, I actually grew up in Australia. I see vowels. I want to read them like an Australian, trying to say them like a Canadian. And it throws me. So I need to hear some of these names, especially because they're brutal names to say. But the San Jose Sharks did put up 3 goals last night. They're on their second night of a back-to-back. They're coming in here plus 140. Minus 170 here for the Calgary Flames, who have had those struggles on the road. We all know their issues out there have been so inconsistent out there on the road. They're coming in at minus 170, total of 6.5. Minus 120 to the under 6.5. I don't think the Sharks, with what they do on defense, are going to be able to slow down Calgary. I think Calgary should be able to put up the goals in this matchup. But can we see the Sharks? We saw the Sharks get us that goal. Meanwhile, we had to sweat that goal in the first period last night, but we did get both teams to score in the first period last night for the Sharks versus Vegas. And I think here, while Dustin Wolf is phenomenal at home, I think we'll see the Sharks score on him quick in this first period. So again, I'm going to take both teams to score in the first period at plus 162. I have no concern here for Calgary. I think they are able to score. I could see this even being a 2-1 first period win here for the Calgary Flames. So if you want to look at Calgary on the puck line in the first period, I don't hate it. Now, Tyler Toffoli, he's played for every team, it feels like, in the league, but Calgary was one of those. I had a Toffoli jersey when he was here in Calgary, and I like his ability to come out and score tonight. He's coming in at plus 200. I'm also going to look at Nazem Kadri here for the Calgary Flames. I do think the Flames can go over their team total. That team total, I believe it's 3.5, you guys. Let me just double check that team total and what value we're getting on it. I just don't trust the defense here for the Sharks. It's 3.5. Yeah, it's minus 106 to the over. The San Jose Sharks have been getting the goals, so could we see a 4-3 win here? For the Calgary Flames, we absolutely could. The Sharks team total over 2.5. It's just too juiced at minus 140. So I do think this is a higher scoring game. Looking at that over 6.5 would be the play for me at minus 102. I do think we have higher scoring games in this one. Timothy, you're going to take the Sharks. Okay, I don't blame you. Look at the Sharks and what they were able to do versus Vegas. And yes, they took that loss, but this team is so freaking hungry. These playmakers, like I said at the top of the show, looking at Celebrini and Will Smith and that goal last night, you guys have to watch the highlights. It was so beautiful out there that I will post it later. I'll post a link to it or just put it up so that you guys can see it, because you have to tip your hat to Celebrini. What he's doing, and Will Smith being able to get that goal was fantastic. So you guys, we talked for 40 minutes. We're going to run through the recap. And yes, Mo, we will definitely look at 5 to 6 players in that round robin. Calgary's overrated. Timothy, you're just breaking my heart today, aren't you? My Calgary Flames are playing above what anyone expected this season. They have been inconsistent out there on the road, so I absolutely do not blame you for taking a chance on the San Jose Sharks. We know this team at home can be so scrappy. They've already played a game and Calgary hasn't. So if you want to look at the San Jose Sharks just in the first period to win that first period, I would sign up for that all day long. We know Calgary has got off to some slow starts after breaks as well. So I can understand you taking the Sharks, even though it hurts a little bit, but I do love my money more than my teams, you guys. Okay, let's get to the recap here. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, tuning in. If you guys can do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that retweet button. I would greatly appreciate it. Recap time, 40-minute mark. Montreal versus Florida. Florida has been able to get nice wins over Montreal, especially at home. I'm going to look at the Florida Panthers in the first period, laying a half a goal at -102. I also like that first period to go over 1.5 goals at -136. The power play points are in play today. Paul Caulfield has been so strong for Montreal, even on the kill. Sam Reinhart for the power play goal tonight, coming in at +205 for the Florida Panthers. The Seattle Kraken taking on the Vancouver Canucks. I'm going to just take this one over 5.5. Seattle's defense doesn't provide much resistance, but we've got some big playmakers out, including Quinn Hughes for the Vancouver Canucks. So I think Seattle can put up their share of goals in this one. Brock Besner for the anytime goal for Vancouver, +175. JT Miller at +240. And Brandon Montour, long shot to light the lamp at +650 here for the Seattle Kraken. You can take him just for the point at +142. The Philadelphia Flyers taking on the Anaheim Ducks. Just give me the over 6.5 with that plus money in this one. I'm expecting a back and forth battle between these two. Leo Carlsson had a hat trick last season versus this team, and I think he'll come out nice and strong for the Ducks today. Give me his anytime goal at +380. Travis Konecny, I will look at as well for the Flyers. He's been strong versus the Ducks in his career. His anytime goal coming in at +165. Last season, both games, he had a goal in each of them. The Edmonton Oilers versus the LA Kings. This game is going to be brutal. Hard-hitting defensive battle. Has to be led by the defense out here if the Kings have any opportunity of winning this game. I'm going to take this game to go to overtime. The overtime bet coming in at +300. I'm going to parlay Kempe and Kopitar of the LA Kings for a point. When you parlay them together, +114, I have to look at Leon Draisaitl leading the league in goal scoring this season. Also, so freaking hot versus the LA Kings. 33 points in 35 games versus the Kings in his career. His goal at +150, 2+ points at +158. I think they both come into play in this one, even though it's a low-scoring game. The Ottawa Senators versus the Winnipeg Jets. I think the Winnipeg Jets get off to a hot start. Hit Levy here really hard in that first period. First period, puck line here for the Winnipeg Jets at +154, just laying the half a goal. Kyle Connor, the power play point, you guys, coming in at +225, I believe it was when we just looked. 2+ points at +180 for him. He has been on fire in the last 10 games, 5 goals and 3 assists, all on the power play. So lights out, 8 goals and 10 assists in the last 10 games overall. He is your playmaker. The Ottawa Senators, I think, struggle to score. We've seen Hellebuck not allow more than 3 goals since the middle of November. Sens team total under 2.5 at -102. The New Jersey Devils and the Carolina Hurricanes, both on a back-to-back after playing last night in New Jersey. New Jersey got the 4-2 win. I think New Jersey can get a win tonight. Give me the Devils first period, money line at +102. Give me the Devils to win this game with that plus money. And the under again, 3-1, 4-1 win here for the Devils. So if you want to take the Devils, Laying 1.5 on the puck line. I don't blame you. I think it's going to be an absolute bloodbath there. I think the Devils just destroy the Canes again, like we saw last night. The Washington Capitals taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. I love the Caps' ability to come in nice and strong. Toronto on the second night of a back-to-back. Matt Murray in goal. I'm going to look at the money line here for the Capitals at -110, but I'm also going to alt it laying 1.5 on that puck line at +220. Big night in this one. Potential return of Ovechkin. Still no word on that. You can look at the Caps team total over 2.5. It's just too juicy at -168. You can alt it up to 3.5. I think they win this 4-2. Your playmakers, though, for Toronto, Mitch Marner coming off a hat trick. He will carry that momentum into this game. The New York Rangers taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. I can't trust the Rangers at all. It's the Tampa Bay Lightning. First period, puck line, laying the half a goal. It's also the Tampa Bay Lightning full game, puck line, laying 1.5 at +154. Braden Point, definitely you'd look at Nikita Kucherov here as well. Kucherov needs to get 2+ points. Again, no value really at -104, but I do think it comes into play. And it's still -104. It's not like we're laying a lot of juice in this. So I do think that's where we're going. And you look at this Rangers team, they're healthy scratching players. Chris Kreider was a healthy scratch before the game in their last one, and it still didn't work. They still took the L, so it's just a mess out there for the Rangers. The Columbus Blue Jackets and the Boston Bruins, we saw this matchup last night. We saw Columbus get the win. We saw Monty with those 2 goals. And I think Columbus can roll into Boston and get a win today. So we're kind of being dangerous here, taking both teams that won last night in the second night of back-to-back versus the same team to get the win again. But with what I saw in those games, I don't care that these home teams have last change in these matchups here with the Carolina Hurricanes and the Boston Bruins. I am riding the plus money on the team that really showed up last night, was able to get us that win. And I think between the two, we're going to hit one of them for sure. I expect both of them to come in. Columbus's team total, probably your best way, safest way to bet this. I definitely think they get 3 goals. So the over 2.5 goals at -112. That give me Columbus with that beautiful plus money. The Pittsburgh Penguins and the New York Islanders, give me the over 6.5. I don't trust Sorokin right now, you guys. We know the Penguins are able to put up those goals. Sidney Crosby, Malkin, Chris Letang have been just fire out there. Sorokin last 5 games. .860 save percentage, 3.50 goals against average. I do think in this one, even though the Isles are coming off that brutal loss before the break, that we'll see the Penguins go up. Now, this is a live betting situation. Again, you guys, I can't stress that enough, how the books overreact in these games. So make sure you always join SportsGrid on in-game live, because you're going to get some great advice on those numbers. The last 9 meetings between these two teams have been 1-goal games, and I think this will be as well. There's no value on either of these teams, plus 1.5 right now on the puck line. But if you look at coming back in after the other team goes up on that puck line, plus 1.5 for the team that is losing, I do think the trends stay true, and this is a 1-goal game between these two. Could we see overtime? We absolutely could. I like the over 6.5. I like the Pittsburgh Penguins on the money line in the first period, coming in at plus 106. Again, the Isles have lost their last 5 first periods at home. And then Calgary versus the San Jose Sharks. Both teams to score in the first period at plus 162. The Sharks do have that momentum. I think they will come into this game on fire to start, but I don't think their defense will be able to slow Calgary. And at the end of the day, that is how Calgary is able to get that win, by outscoring this team. 4-3 style game, Calgary for the win. So the over 6.5. Toffoli versus his former team at plus 200, and Nazem Kadri for the anytime goal for Calgary at plus 210. Let's get this freaking money. Let's go Chargers. This game kicking off right away. So Mo, we're going to have to pick those favorite players tonight. No worries that you're late. We're going to first periods. Yeah, we did first periods over unders. Calgary and the San Jose Sharks are like both teams to score in that first period. So I would look at that one over the 1.5 in the first period. I also really like the Florida Panthers and the Montreal Canadiens over the 1.5 in the first period, because I do think Florida could score both of those goals as well. I think the Philadelphia Flyers and the Anaheim Ducks, another one that you can look at the over 1.5. And then the Vancouver Canucks, Seattle Kraken, and the Tampa Bay Lightning. We could see all of those go over 1.5 in the first period. The interesting thing about the Edmonton Oilers and the LA Kings, I could see 2 goals in the first period. and then the lockdown coming in that one as those goaltenders get hit hard to start. But I think that one starts slow. I think that first 10 minutes, we probably don't see a goal. In that last 10 minutes is where we see that goal. So we're going to have to sweat that one out if you're betting the over 1.5. I just like staying with that game under that. So let's look here at some of these players to round robin. You guys, let's make some freaking money today. I'm excited for these matchups. We'll look here further down the list because if anyone is catching that early game, it's kicking off right away. So we don't want to include the Montreal Canadiens and the Florida Panthers. The Edmonton Oilers, you got to look at Leon Draisaitl when we're looking at someone for the player points tonight. In our long shot parlay, Leon Draisaitl is so juiced at -320, but I do think he gets the point. I'm then going to look at Kempe. So I will take Leon Draisaitl, the Edmonton Oilers, as well as Kempe for the LA Kings for their point tonight. If you just want to parlay those two together, that's coming in at +118 on FanDuel. So I don't hate that, you guys, but we're going to build a long shot parlay. The Flyers and the Ducks, like I said, I really do think we've got some playmakers in for a big night here. I'm going to look at Konechny. I can never say his name. Travis Konechny for the point here for the Flyers, you guys. No, I love him. And then I'm also going to look here at Leo Carlsson. Leo Carlsson for the points at +130. Again, he had a hat trick. If you just want to parlay those together, Travis Konechny and Leo Carlsson, same game parlay coming in at +210 between these two. The Seattle Kraken and the Vancouver Canucks, I really do think we're going to see that step up by Brock Besner in this game. His anytime point coming in at -172. We'll throw that into the parlay. Unbettable outside of it. The New Jersey Devils and the Carolina Hurricanes, I'm going to stay off. The New York Rangers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Let's just look at what value we're getting here for Kucherov. I can't throw Kucherov in. He's -500. You got Braden Point coming in at -215. I think he is worth a look here versus the New York Rangers. The Columbus Blue Jackets and the Boston Bruins, I'm going to stay off that one. I don't love looking at some of these players on the second night of a back-to-back. I think Monty still comes out strong, but I'm going to stay off that. The Winnipeg Jets, we got to look at Kyle Connor for the points tonight to come out just flying. He's -290 for the point. So we'll throw him in. I'm going to stay off. Actually, the Penguins, we got to throw in Sid. Sidney Crosby should be able to come in nice and strong. So far we have a 7-legger adding Sidney Crosby. I will look at adding, did we? Yeah, we did. Let's just leave it at that. I don't want to, should we throw Toffoli in, you guys? You can throw Toffoli in if you want to here for the point tonight for the Sharks. You know, if anyone's coming out strong, it is Toffoli. He's -115. Okay, Toffoli and Nazem Kadri, I'll throw in for the point. We got a 10-legger. Who doesn't want a 10-legger on a Saturday? Something to cheer for in all of these games. So let's look at the 10-leg parlay. It's coming in at 90 to 1. So $10 bet returns you 903. Again, don't bet a lot on parlays, you guys. They are definitely long shots out there. So our playmakers in this one, let's look at who we have. So we have Leon Draisaitl for the Edmonton Oilers for the point, Kempe for the LA Kings for the point. We have Travis Konechny for the point for the Philadelphia Flyers, Leo Carlsson for the point for the Ducks, Brock Besner for the point for the Vancouver Canucks, Braden Point for the point for the Tampa Bay Lightning, Kyle Connor for the point for the Winnipeg Jets, Sidney Crosby for the point for the Pittsburgh Penguins, Tyler Toffoli for the point for the San Jose Sharks, and Nazem Kadri for the point for the Calgary Flames. My best players that I love tonight for the points is Kyle Connor and Leon Draisaitl. I think both of those guys completely are able to get 2+ points in their games tonight. So if you just want to look at both of them for 2+ points, I don't hate it as well. Parlayed either together or separately, look at them for those goals. So you guys, all the best in all of your bets. Thank you so much for joining me here for Pocket with Jo for the last 53 minutes. Again, if you guys could do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that retweet button. I would so appreciate it. Keeps this show going here on SportsGrid TV on the daily at noon Eastern. So you guys, I'll be back tomorrow, noon Eastern. Join me on the grid, 4:30 to 8 p.m. Tonight, with Scott Wetzel, we'll be going over these games. So let's make some money. Best of luck to everyone out there, Timothy and Mo. Best of luck as well. So you guys, I appreciate each and every one of you. We will see you back here, noon Eastern tomorrow. Hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Pocket with Joe.